Cleo, okay, Cleo. Welcome to Practical Business.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting.
Okay, your survey, your recently published survey, is very interesting in that it points to the Philippines as one of those countries that cannot seem to shake off the specter of corruption. So tell us something about the survey before we get into the
You're talking about the Corruption Perceptions Index.
Corruption Perception Index. Okay.
That's right. And we released the data last December 3, and we got a score of 36 over 100. The Philippines got a score of 36 over 100.
So in layman's terms, what is 36 over 100? Because I would think that the emphasis would be in the ranking. What is the most corrupt? What is the least corrupt? No, I think we registered a ranking of 94. I don't know if that's correct. No.
That's right. That's right, Miguel.
94 out of how many countries polled?
177.
170. So we're more or less in the middle now.
Well, we again, like I said, I think we should focus on the score, and
Okay.
the score is 36 over 100. The highest score in the survey got a 91 over 100. New Zealand, Denmark, these are the countries that ranked high. We, on the other hand, got 36 over 100 in any test you get or take.
That's bagsak.
Yes. I mean,
Okay, that's a failing mark.
yeah, because it's below 50. So any country that gets a score below 50 means that it has a serious corruption problem.
So how do you present the questions? I mean, are they rated by agency? Because I understand that in the minds of our Filipinos, and this is relatively accurate, I would think, that the Philippine National Police is still the number one most corrupt agency, at least according to the survey.
That's right. Well, I'll make a distinction between two different Transparency International tools. One is the Corruption Perceptions Index, and this is not a local survey. This is a survey conducted from Berlin, which is an aggregate of 9 different surveys. Okay, so 9 different surveys, and they each had a score for the Philippines. This was averaged, and we got a score of 36 over 100.
Does that mean that the respondents are not all Filipinos?
It's not Filipinos at all. These are country experts and business people abroad.
Okay. Who have been doing business in the Philippines?
Who are either doing business in the Philippines or looking to do business in the Philippines. The other data that you mentioned, which is that most probably that we still rank the Philippine National Police as one of the most corrupt, that came out in another Transparency International tool, which is the Global Corruption Barometer. That is a local survey.
Okay. So, if someone were to experience the experience of a reporter, if someone wants to discredit your survey, they are going to ask you, who financed the survey? Who bankrolled the survey? Maybe they have some sort of motive. Okay, so tell us something about Transparency International. It's the local branch and the international branch.
Okay. Well, first of all, with regard to the credibility of the survey, the survey is an aggregate of very credible surveys. So these, for instance, one of the survey outfits that ranked the Philippines or gave the Philippines a score is the World Economic Forum Executive Opinion Survey. The other one is the Political and Economic Risk Consultancy Asian Intelligence Survey. So these are country experts and business people, as you said, based outside of the Philippines. So in terms of credibility of the study, we only aggregate studies that are scientific and based on data. With regard to what Transparency International is a global civil society organization. We have the Secretariat, which is based in Berlin, Germany. It was founded in 1993.
Yes.
One of the founder is Peter Eigen. He used to work for the World Bank, and he saw the kind of corruption that
In the Philippines.
globally. He was actually based in Africa. So it was founded in Germany, and the founder Peter Eigen is German, but he worked in the World Bank, and he saw the kind of corruption that can take place in developing countries. Today, Transparency International has 100 chapters all around the world. The Philippines is one national chapter. We were founded here in 1995.
Okay. Um, you know, since you do a scientific study of corruption as a problem, as a hindrance for development, um, one would think that countries where poverty is relatively rampant would tend to be a bigger problem because of the, you know, poverty, because people need the money. But it can also be argued that corruption is a cultural thing. So even a rich senator or a rich congressman who's not fighting for his next meal can be even more corrupt than your traffic enforcer or your street cop who gets a meager paycheck at the end of the month, no? So, what is your analysis about corruption in the Philippines? Is it cultural or is it simply an economic thing?
Well, I don't actually believe that it's a cultural thing. I don't think Filipinos culturally are more prone to corruption than any culture. Part of the problem why...
But people seem to accept it. I mean, there are reports that a big city here in the NCR, some of the guys at City Hall are charging 120,000 pesos bribe for your signage
Right.
signage fees
Right.
or problems related to it. So
Right. Again, I will say it's not cultural. It's you have either weak institutions or weak enforcement. If people know that they will not get away with a traffic violation, if they know that they'll get a ticket, if they know that they will not get away by paying off somebody to get off easily for a traffic violation, they will follow traffic rules. And you see this. There are a lot of Filipinos based abroad. There are a lot of overseas Filipino workers, and they are rule followers. They are law-abiding citizens. Yeah.
I mean, I guess everyone would want to follow the rules if the playing field is even, di ba?
Right.
Pero when you get charged, when people seek bribes from you for doing absolutely nothing, I mean, they're gonna give you a hard time if you don't. That's where the problem begins, di ba?
I agree. And I have heard many stories, and I've experienced it myself, that you'd have to beg for a ticket, in fact, because sometimes traffic enforcers would rather settle the matter. You know? But I've heard of many stories that, in fact, a lot of our Filipinos here would really beg for a ticket from a traffic enforcer when they are caught or when they are claimed to be violating a traffic law.
So do you see a cultural change, or do you see people actually sincerely wanting to change things?
I think people want to see change. I mean, with the recent scandals that we've seen, very, very big amounts of money that you can see lost to corruption. A lot of people are really getting fed up with corruption, and we really have to do something about it.
Okay. So if you rank 94 or 36 out
over
of 100, would that mean that the current administration has failed? I mean, it's halfway already
Exactly.
to the end of the term, no? Do you see it as a failure in as far as pursuing its, what do you call this, the daang matuwid target or motto? Because, you know, other administrations are founded on political change or economic change, but this particular government prides itself that its main foundation is really the anti-corruption, and yet it seems to be, based on your survey, that it's not getting there.
Well, that is the survey reflects the perceived corruption of people not based in the Philippines. And you're right, they're already halfway through this administration, and they really need to step up and speed up on their programs and really show that anti-corruption programs and their projects will reflect that platform. And they really need to step up a bit.
Okay. We opened the segment by saying that corruption is a disincentive to investment. And since you're saying that your respondents, a lot of them are from abroad, is that an accurate assumption, more or less, that we are not getting the investments that is really coming to us because a lot of the investors are wary.
Right, because in a way it shows the corruption risks that they will enter into if they invest in the Philippines. And I think if we improve in the corruption index, we will see more investors coming in. For the most part, even though we'd like to see more anti-corruption, the anti-corruption platform of this government gaining traction, for the most part, I think this administration still has been able to show the international community that it is serious about that.
Some level of sincerity.
Some level of sincerity. So,
But the trickle-down effect, I mean, even if the president, I guess most people agree that President Aquino himself is not corrupt, but the institutions under him,
right.
the sort of subculture that has that persists. That's another thing. That's a question of leadership.
Well, it's a question of leadership, and really fixing corruption is a long-term project and program as well. And it will take more than one administration to fix it, but it should be a continuous desire to reform, to strengthen institutions, and make sure that those institutions are not easily captured by patronage, and that you really build your institution's capacity as well. So I think for the most part, we show that we have political stability, but we can attract more investors if in fact we show that we're really serious about battling corruption. And I think we have a lot to sort of check on for next year, with how will the rehabilitation take place, will the aid money really go to the people, all that. I think people are looking, and people will be observing how this administration will conduct itself in the next coming months.
Are we in a microscope because of the PDAF, the pork barrel scam? The PDAF and the DAP, no?
You're right, right.
Did that news sort of reach the respondents abroad? Are they aware of that?
That was, in terms of the time frame when the research was done,
Yes.
that will be factored in for next year.
Next year.
Next year.
Okay. So we may not fare as well next year, in other words.
Well, the year before, we were 34 over 100. This year, we are 36 over 100.
So we don't change much.
Not much.